Their massive ships hung in the sky like dark shadows, weapons glowing with deadly intent. The colonists looked up in fear, but Ethan moved among them, calm and resolute. "Stay focused," he said. "We survive. We protect each other. We fight with heart, and that is more powerful than any weapon they have." His words, simple but full of conviction, inspired courage. Humans had faced worse before, and they would face this too. Lyra stood beside him, her chest tight with determination. She had fully chosen humanity, and she had fully chosen Ethan. Every decision she had made in the past days had been dangerous, disobedient, and risky. Yet seeing the humans stand together, seeing their bravery and hope, she felt an unshakable certainty. She would fight with them, and she would fight beside him. The alien fleet was strong, but humans had something they had underestimated: courage, choice, and the will to protect life. As the first wave of enemy ships descended, Ethan directed humans to their positions. Lyra activated the shields, forming protective barriers around key areas in the colonists. Humans took cover, armed with weapons patched together from salvage, trained under Ethan's guidance, and inspired by his calm authority. The enemy fired, and the sky exploded with energy blasts. Humans dodged, countered, and improvised, moving unpredictably, their courage unyielding. Lyra marveled, still amazed at their resilience, at their unwillingness to give in, even when facing annihilation. Amid the chaos, a massive alien frigate aimed for the central settlement hub. Ethan realized it could destroy everything if it hit. He called for volunteers. Some of the strongest colonists and fighters joined him, trusting his plan. Lyra stepped forward too. She would not let him face this danger alone. Together they prepared a daring counterattack. Ethan explained the plan in simple terms, easy to follow, and infused with hope. Humans moved with confidence because they trusted him, and Lyra followed his instructions perfectly, her alien skills amplifying their effectiveness. The plan was dangerous. Ethan led a small team in attack ships toward the frigate, dodging heavy fire while setting explosives to disable its engines. Lyra coordinated the shields from the ground, protecting them and guiding every movement. The humans moved like a single organism, improvised yet precise, unpredictable yet effective. Every step relied on trust, courage, and heart. Lyra realized that humans were extraordinary because they chose to fight, not because they had to, but because they wanted to protect each other.
The frigate fired directly at Ethan's team.
Plasma blasts tore past them, shaking their ships. Ethan maneuvered quickly, dodging and countering. Lyra focused all her energy on shielding his path, deflecting the deadly fire. She realized, with sudden clarity, that her feelings for him were inseparable from her choice to protect humanity. She fought not just with her skills, but with her heart. Ethan's calm determination, bravery, and trust in the humans gave her strength she had never known. The team reached the frigate and planted explosives. Alarms blared across the enemy ship. Ethan gave the signal, and the explosives detonated. The frigate shuddered violently, engines failing, and it began to plummet toward the canyon. The other enemy ships were caught off guard. They had underestimated humans and the aliens standing beside them. Lyra directed the colonists to press the advantage, using the confusion to strike at the raiders. Humans moved with ingenuity and courage, turning chaos into opportunity. Amid the fight, a massive energy blast struck near the settlement. Buildings shook, and humans were thrown to the ground. Ethan moved quickly, helping the injured, guiding them to safety. Lyra intercepted enemy fire, using her shields to protect them. She realized that humans survived because they acted as one, because they cared for each other, because courage was stronger than fear. She had never seen such unity in her own order. Humans were not just survivors, they were heroes by choice. The alien fleet tried to regroup, but humans continued to fight with determination. Ethan led teams to strategic points, using terrain and traps to offset the aliens' technological advantage. Lyra coordinated energy barriers, manipulated systems, and provided intelligence to anticipate enemy maneuvers. Humans and alien worked together seamlessly, each complementing the other. She realized that choice, courage, and unity were more powerful than any fleet, any order, any rules. As the battle reached its peak, Ethan and Lyra found themselves together on a ridge overlooking the settlement. The largest enemy ships moved into position, their weapons aimed to obliterate everything. Ethan turned to Lyra. "This is it," he said. "Are you ready?" She nodded, determination burning in her eyes. "I am," she said. "We fight together." He smiled faintly, his calm resolve steady as ever. Together they turned back to face the enemy, united in purpose, hearts steady in the face of overwhelming odds. The final assault began. Alien ships fired relentlessly, and humans dodged, countered, and used traps and improvised weapons. Lyra's shields absorbed immense energy, protecting the settlement, the colonists, and Ethan's team. Ethan directed movements, inspired courage, and coordinated strikes. The humans fought not because they had to, but because they chose to protect their people and their home. The aliens had never seen such determination, such heart. Every strike, every defense, every maneuver was fueled by courage and love. Amid the chaos, Ethan noticed a massive enemy weapon preparing to fire at the settlement hub. He signaled Lyra. She understood immediately. They complemented each other perfectly, a human and an alien, united in purpose. After the fight, they returned to the settlement exhausted, but alive. Ethan treated minor wounds and checked on Lyra. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, though she still felt the heavy weight of her secret. She had chosen to protect humans instead of obeying her order. That decision could change everything, but she could not regret it. Ethan's calm presence and quiet strength reminded her why she had done it. She was beginning to understand humans in a way her order had never allowed. They fought not just for survival, but for choice, for each other, and for hope. Later, Lyra went alone to the edge of the settlement, looking out at the stars. She could feel the presence of her order, watching, judging, waiting. A part of her wanted to obey, to return to the safety of rules and duty. But another part, the part that had seen Ethan, had witnessed the humans' courage, and had fought alongside them, refused to obey. She could not betray them. She thought of Ethan, his calm determination, his quiet bravery, and she felt something unfamiliar. Love, or at least something very close to it. That night, she joined Ethan near the campfire, where humans were resting. He noticed her presence and smiled faintly. "You've been quiet," he said. She hesitated, then sat beside him. "I am thinking," she said. Ethan nodded, understanding that sometimes words were not needed. He reached out, lightly touching her hand. "Whatever happens, we face it together," he said. Lyra felt warmth spread through her chest. In her world, such feelings were weakness. But here beside him, it felt like strength. The following morning, Lyra received another alert from her superiors. The alien fleet was preparing to enter the sector. The command was clear. Destroy the settlement, eliminate the humans, and report back. Lyra read the message and felt her chest tighten. As dawn broke, Lyra stood beside Ethan, watching humans rebuild, laugh, and care for each other. She had learned something she would never forget. Humans were extraordinary, not because of their weapons or strength, but because they fought for each other, because they chose hope, courage, and compassion. Ethan had shown her the true power of the human heart, and she had chosen him as he had chosen her over fear, duty, and uncertainty. The alien fleet had retreated, stunned by the humans' courage and resilience. Reports would spread across the galaxy, and the story of the human settlement's survival would inspire others. Lyra knew her order would not forgive her, but she no longer cared. She had found something more important: trust, love, and purpose. Humans had earned her respect, her loyalty, and her heart. Ethan and Lyra walked through the settlement together, helping the colonists where needed. They spoke quietly, sharing thoughts, plans, and small smiles. The bond between them was unspoken but strong. Lyra realized that she had not just survived the battle. She had found a new path, one defined by choice and courage. Humans had taught her that life was not just about orders or rules, but about what one chose to protect and fight for. As night fell, the settlement rested under a sky filled with stars. Ethan and Lyra stood together looking out at the galaxy. "Whatever comes next," Ethan said, "we face it together." Lyra smiled, her heart light and determined. "Yes," she said, "together." In that moment the universe seemed smaller, less threatening, because courage, trust, and love were stronger than any fleet, any order, or any enemy. And for the first time in her life, Lyra knew she had chosen correctly. She had chosen humanity. She had chosen Ethan. And she had chosen to fight with heart. The galaxy had seen human courage, and she had seen it too. Up close, powerful, and inspiring. Whatever the future held, she would face it with humans by her side. And with the man who had shown her that love and loyalty were the strongest forces in the universe. The story of that day would echo in the stars. Humans had survived against impossible odds, not through technology or rules, but through heart. And Lyra, the alien who had come to judge them, had chosen to stand with them, her loyalty and love shining as brightly as the stars above. Together they had proven that courage, choice, and hope were the true weapons of humanity. And as Ethan and Lyra walked hand in hand through the recovering settlement, they both knew one truth: the galaxy would never forget the day humans stood together, fought with heart, and survived. And neither would they. "I chose you over my duty, human." The alien's heartfelt confession. The stars outside the ship stretched into long lines as Ethan Cole looked out from the cockpit. The small human convoy was moving carefully through the alien sector, a place where humans had no right to be. His eyes scanned the dark expanse, checking for enemy ships. His hand rested lightly on the control panel, ready to act at a moment's notice. Beside him, Lyra Venn, the alien liaison, watched with her piercing violet eyes. She did not speak, but her presence filled the cabin with a quiet tension. Ethan had heard stories about her. She belonged to an ancient alien order known for strict loyalty to law and duty. They were respected and feared in every corner of the galaxy. She had been assigned to judge humanity, to see if humans were worthy allies or a threat to the galaxy. Ethan knew little about her people, only that they considered emotions a weakness. Yet somehow, in the small conversations they had, Lyra had shown curiosity about humans, though she hid it behind cold discipline. The convoy's mission was simple in words, but dangerous in practice. They were to escort a small group of human colonists to a mining outpost near the edge of the sector. Recent raids by space pirates had destroyed several human supply ships. The United Earth Fleet wanted to establish a presence there, but they had to be careful. Any mistake could start a war with alien forces, and humans were still not trusted in this region. Ethan had volunteered for the mission. He had always believed that humans could prove themselves in the galaxy if they were given a chance. This mission might be the first step. Lyra broke the silence. "Your species fights without planning," she said softly, her voice smooth but precise. "I do not understand it." Ethan smiled faintly. "We improvise a lot," he said. "Sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't." The next morning they returned to the settlement to find more raider activity near the outskirts. Ethan quickly organized a patrol team. Lyra volunteered to assist, though she stayed slightly behind, letting humans take the lead. She observed them moving, coordinating and taking risks she would never allow in her own order. Yet she realized that their courage was real, and it worked. Humans survived because they adapted, cared, and trusted each other. She began to feel a strange sense of belonging she had never experienced in her own strict alien hierarchy. As the patrol moved closer to the raiders, Ethan noticed they were planning to attack the colonists again. He whispered instructions to the team. They moved quietly, using the terrain to their advantage. Ethan spotted a weak point in the raiders' formation and signaled to the team. The humans attacked swiftly and unexpectedly, disabling several raider ships without exposing themselves. Lyra watched in astonishment. Humans did not follow predictable patterns. They improvised, they adapted, and they survived. She had studied countless species, but she had never seen such raw ingenuity combined with compassion. During the skirmish, one of the colonists was caught outside the cover of the terrain. A raider fired, aiming at the civilian. Ethan lunged forward, using his own body to shield the colonist. A blast hit his shoulder, knocking him to the ground. Lyra reacted instantly, forming a protective shield around them. She felt a surge of fear she had never allowed herself to feel. Humans risked themselves in ways she could not calculate. Ethan grunted, struggling to his feet. "Keep moving," he said to the colonist, helping them run to safety. Lyra realized she had never seen anyone move so fast under pressure, not even herself. Humans had a courage that could not be predicted. After the raiders retreated, the patrol returned. Ethan was bruised and exhausted, but he smiled faintly. The colonists cheered, though quietly respecting the danger that had passed. Lyra stood beside him, silent, her thoughts racing. She had seen humans fight, improvise, and sacrifice for others. She had seen Ethan lead, protect, and inspire. She realized that she was learning something her order would never teach. Humans had strength not because of orders or training, but because of their hearts. It was reckless, unpredictable, and terrifying. And yet, beautiful. Over the next few days, Ethan and Lyra worked together to reinforce the settlement. Lyra shared knowledge of alien technology to improve defenses, while Ethan taught colonists basic strategies for survival. They moved side by side, sometimes arguing about methods, sometimes laughing quietly at small human mistakes. Slowly, Lyra began to understand humans not as a species to judge, but as a people to respect. Her feelings for Ethan deepened, though she would not admit it to herself. He had shown her bravery, kindness, and intelligence. He had made her question her own rigid beliefs. One evening after a long day of repairs and training, Lyra approached Ethan while he was helping a child fix a small rover. She watched him for a moment, her alien expression unreadable. "You are unlike anyone I have met," she said softly. Ethan looked up, smiling gently. "I could say the same about you," he said. "You've helped more than you know, more than anyone expected." Lyra felt her chest tighten. She had never wanted recognition, but she felt something in her chest that made her take a small step closer. She was beginning to care, and that was dangerous. Ethan glanced at the horizon where the sun was setting over the rocky terrain. The sky was a mix of red, orange, and purple. Alien, yet strangely comforting. "We'll get through this," he said quietly. "No matter what comes next." With a surge of energy, she projected the full strength of her shields, taking the brunt of the attack herself. The blast collided with the barrier, shattering ships nearby, but leaving the humans and settlement intact. She fell to one knee, exhausted but alive. Ethan rushed to her side, supporting her. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, smiling faintly. "I'm okay. Because we fight together," she said. The bond between them, forged in battle, was unbreakable. Humans seized the advantage. They attacked with precision and courage, striking raider ships, disabling key systems, and turning the tide. Ethan and Lyra moved among them, coordinating, guiding, protecting. The alien fleet, shocked and disoriented, began to retreat. Humans had survived not through superior weapons, but through courage, adaptability, and the unyielding will to protect each other. Lyra realized that this was the essence of humanity, something her order could never understand. As the last enemy ships fled, the settlement remained intact. Colonists cheered, exhausted but alive. Ethan moved among them, helping the injured, comforting the frightened, and praising their bravery. Lyra watched, her heart full. She had chosen humans over duty, and her choice had been proven right. She had fought not just for them, but with them, and in doing so, she had learned the true meaning of courage and loyalty. Later, under the stars, Ethan and Lyra stood together on the ridge overlooking the settlement. The fires had burned low, the sounds of battle replaced by relief and quiet celebration. Ethan took her hand gently. "We did it," he said simply. Lyra looked into his eyes. "Yes," she said. "We survived together." She felt a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. She had defied her order, chosen love and loyalty over duty, and witnessed humanity at its finest. The choice had been dangerous, but it had been worth every risk. Lyra looked at him, feeling a strange warmth she had never known. Humans were messy, chaotic, and unpredictable, yet they had something that her order had never understood: courage, compassion, and choice. And Ethan Cole, this simple human, was showing her the power of it every day. As night fell, the settlement rested under watchful eyes. Ethan and Lyra stood on a ridge overlooking the camp. The wind carried the scent of metal and earth, smoke and fire from the day's work. Lyra did not speak. She simply watched humans move below, tending to each other, caring for those in need and surviving against impossible odds. She had come to judge them, but now she was beginning to understand. Humans were strong because they chose to protect, to risk, and to care. She had never seen anything like it in her order. And beside her, Ethan Cole looked calm, tired, but unbroken. Lyra realized something that made her chest ache. Humans were not weak, not reckless in the way her order believed. They were extraordinary, and she had just begun to see it. She had survived the first test, but the lessons had only begun. Ethan Cole had shown her what it meant to fight with heart, and she could not unsee it. For Lyra, the canyon, the raiders, and the humans had taught her a truth she had never known. Survival was not just about skill or orders, but about courage, care, and choice. And for Ethan Cole, the mission was far from over. But he had found an unexpected ally in the alien who had come to judge humanity. Together they would face whatever came next, and neither would be the same again. The settlement had begun to recover from the raider attacks, but tension lingered in the air. Ethan moved among the colonists, checking supplies and helping rebuild damaged shelters. He had become a quiet presence of strength for them, someone they trusted. Lyra stayed nearby, still learning about humans, still feeling the strange pull she could not name. She had survived the first tests, seen courage, and witnessed sacrifice, but the galaxy had a way of reminding them that peace was always temporary. One morning, as Ethan was coordinating a patrol, Lyra received a sharp alert from her communicator. It was a direct message from her superiors. She hesitated before answering, knowing this call could change everything. When she did, a calm but authoritative voice spoke. "Lyra Van, your mission has evolved. Humanity cannot be trusted. The settlement you protect will be destroyed. You are to disable their defenses and allow our fleet to complete the purge. Failure will result in your recall and termination." Lyra's hands tightened around the console. The order was clear. Obedience was everything in her world. Yet, looking at the human settlement below, she felt a strange hesitation she had never experienced before. She ended the transmission and turned to Ethan, who had noticed the change in her demeanor. "Something wrong?" he asked. She shook her head, trying to mask her inner conflict. "Nothing," she said softly. But inside, her mind raced. Her order demanded loyalty above all, yet the humans had shown her bravery, compassion, and choice. She could not reconcile the command with what she had learned. Obeying would restore her honor, keep her safe, and follow everything she had been taught. Disobeying could mean death, exile, or worse. And yet, she could not bring herself to betray Ethan. Not after everything she had seen the next day.
Ethan led a scouting patrol beyond the settlement.
He wanted to ensure the perimeter was secure, and he trusted Lyra to watch the colonists while he was away. They moved through rocky terrain, careful of traps and hidden raiders.
Ethan joked quietly, trying to lighten the mood.
Lyra, who rarely smiled, found herself responding with small laughs. She was learning something strange. She was beginning to enjoy his company. It frightened her. Emotions were distractions, and she could not afford them, yet she felt them growing anyway. During the patrol, Ethan noticed strange signals in the nearby canyon. "Something's not right," he said. Lyra examined the readings and realized they were alien probes, small ships meant to track humans. "They are monitoring the settlement," she said. Ethan's eyes narrowed. "We need to disable them before the colonists are in danger." Lyra hesitated. This was exactly what her superiors had warned against. If she interfered, she would be breaking orders. Yet she saw the fear in Ethan's eyes for the colonists, the same compassion that had saved her before. She made a choice without thinking.
"I will help," she said. They moved carefully, sneaking through the canyon.
Ethan used the terrain to hide, signaling to Lyra when to move. She followed, her alien senses scanning for danger. The probes were hidden among rocks, almost invisible. Ethan placed charges on one, then on another. Lyra used her energy to shield them from detection as they worked. Every moment she felt the weight of her choice. Disobedience could mean death, yet she could not watch innocent people die. She realized something she had never thought before. She cared, deeply, for humans, and for Ethan especially. Just as they finished disabling the last probe, a group of raider ships appeared from the canyon mouth. Ethan cursed under his breath. "We've been spotted," he said. He fired at the raiders, moving quickly to cover Lyra. She activated her shields, deflecting plasma blasts aimed at them. Together, they fought with precision, moving in ways neither could have done alone. Ethan's strategy was unpredictable but effective. Lyra's skills were precise and deadly. She could follow the order, as her people demanded. She could protect herself, regain her honor, and complete her duty. Yet, looking at Ethan and the colonists, she felt a determination she had never known. She would not obey. She would fight for them. She approached Ethan privately, her voice low. "They are coming," she said. Ethan frowned. "How many?" she hesitated. "A fleet. More than we can fight alone." Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then we fight smart," he said. He began outlining strategies, improvising plans to use the terrain, the colonists, and Lyra's knowledge of the alien fleet. Lyra listened, noting his creativity and calm under pressure. Humans fought with hope and ingenuity, not just weapons. She realized she had never met anyone like him. He inspired trust, loyalty, and courage in others, even when the odds were impossible. As the alien fleet entered the sector, scouts reported their approach. Ethan and Lyra moved quickly, coordinating defenses and preparing the colonists. Lyra used her alien technology to fortify shields and communication lines. Ethan trained colonists to fight, to hide, and to use the environment to their advantage. The humans were scared, but they listened to him. His courage and determination were infectious. Lyra watched, realizing that humans were more than their weapons. They were capable of extraordinary acts because of their hearts. The first skirmish began when a small strike force landed near the settlement. Ethan led the humans in ambushes, setting traps, and using the terrain cleverly. Lyra fought alongside them, using her skills to protect both humans and the weaker colonists. Every move was precise, every decision calculated yet flexible. Humans improvised constantly, adjusting as the battle unfolded. Lyra felt a strange pride she could not explain. These humans, messy and unpredictable, were surviving where her order might have expected them to fail. Amid the fighting, a raider ship managed to get close to the central supply depot. Ethan acted immediately, charging forward to intercept it. Lyra followed, her shields deflecting fire. Together they disabled the raider ship before it could destroy vital supplies. Colonists cheered quietly, still frightened but alive. Lyra stood beside Ethan, her chest tight with conflicting feelings. She had chosen humans over her duty, and for the first time she understood the depth of their courage and why Ethan believed in them. As the day ended, both sides regrouped. The human settlement was damaged but intact. Ethan checked on the colonists, reassuring them. Lyra remained by his side, watching humans tend to each other, share supplies, and protect the wounded. She had learned that humans were not perfect, but they were resilient in ways her order had never taught her. They had heart, determination, and the ability to make choices that mattered. That night, Lyra stood alone, looking at the stars. She thought of the alien fleet, her order, and the mission that now seemed impossible to complete. She had made a choice, one that could cost her everything, but she could not regret it. Ethan had shown her the meaning of courage and selflessness. Humans were worth fighting for. She whispered softly, though no one could hear, "I choose them. I choose him." It was a confession she could not speak aloud, but it was true. The days that followed were tense. The alien fleet was preparing for a full assault. Ethan continued to plan, train, and inspire the colonists. Lyra remained at his side, fighting, protecting, and learning. The bond between them grew, silent but strong. She was no longer a judge sent to monitor humans. She had become their ally, their protector, and perhaps in ways she did not yet fully understand, something more. As the fleet approached, Ethan looked at Lyra. "We've faced worse," he said quietly. "We survive together, no matter what comes next." Lyra met his eyes, feeling the weight of her choice. Obeying her order could have been safe, predictable. Now, she stood beside a human who had risked everything for others, who believed in them, and who inspired her to defy her own people. She had made a choice that could change her life, but she felt stronger than ever. Humans were not just a species. They were hope, courage, and determination. And Ethan Cole was the heart of that truth. For Lyra, the next battle would test everything: loyalty, courage, and love. She had chosen humanity over duty, and she knew the consequences would be severe. But she also knew that standing beside Ethan and the colonists was worth any risk. They would face the fleet together, and she would protect them with everything she had. The galaxy had never seen humans fight like this before, and she would make sure they survived even if it meant defying her own people. And for Ethan, the fight ahead would be the hardest of his life. But he had Lyra by his side now, and with her knowledge, skills, and courage, humanity had a chance. The battle for survival was only beginning, but hope burned brighter than any fear. The alien fleet was close now. Massive ships moved slowly across the stars, dark and threatening. The settlement below buzzed with activity as Ethan worked with the colonists to strengthen defenses. Every person had a role, and Ethan made sure they understood it. He moved quickly, calmly, giving instructions, checking weapons, and reassuring frightened civilians. Lyra stood beside him, scanning the horizon, her senses alert for the first signs of attack. She had made her choice. She would protect the humans. But her heart felt heavy with the weight of what that meant. Her order would never forgive disobedience, and she knew the consequences could be terrible. Ethan noticed her tension. "You're quiet," he said, glancing at her. She hesitated, unsure how to answer. Finally, she spoke softly. "I have something to tell you. Something important." Ethan looked at her, curiosity and concern in his eyes. "What is it?" She swallowed, the words heavy in her throat. "I was sent to judge humans," she admitted. "To report if you were a threat. My order: they have commanded me to destroy this settlement, to betray you." Ethan's eyes widened, but he stayed calm. "Then why are you here?" he asked. Lyra's gaze dropped. "Because I cannot," she whispered. "I cannot destroy them, or you. I have chosen to protect humanity." Ethan took a deep breath, trying to process her words. He had expected danger from outside, but this was danger from within their own ranks. Yet he saw the truth in her eyes. She meant what she said. She had defied her own people to stand beside him. He reached out, placing a hand on her arm. "Then we fight together," he said simply. "No matter what comes, we survive together." Lyra felt a strange warmth at his words, a reassurance she had never known. She had chosen not just humanity, but him. Preparations for the battle began in earnest. Ethan organized colonists into defensive squads, set traps along the approaches, and coordinated evacuation points for civilians. Lyra used her alien knowledge to enhance the shields, reinforce barriers, and modify weapons with technology the humans had never seen before. Together, they worked efficiently, combining human improvisation and alien precision. Every hour, the threat of the fleet grew closer, and yet the people moved with confidence, because Ethan and Lyra were there. As night fell, Lyra approached Ethan again. The campfires cast flickering light on their faces.
"I need to tell you something more," she said quietly. Ethan tilted his head, waiting.
I do not know why, but I feel something for you. More than duty, more than friendship. It is dangerous to feel this. It could destroy us both, but I cannot hide it." Ethan's eyes softened. He had suspected, in the quiet moments during their patrols and battles, that she felt something more. Now, hearing it, he felt a surge of emotion. He gently placed his hand over hers. I feel it too, he admitted. We have no time to waste on hesitation. But know this, I trust you. Completely. They spent the night planning, not just defenses but strategies for fighting the fleet. Lyra suggested using the terrain to funnel enemy ships, using the canyon walls to shield the settlement from heavy fire. Ethan added human improvisation, placing traps in unexpected places and teaching colonists to move quickly and hide. Every idea relied on trust, teamwork, and courage. Lyra realized that humans thrived because they could adapt and think for themselves. Ethan's calmness, his belief in his people, and his unwavering courage inspired even her. She felt stronger than ever, and for the first time she embraced her feelings instead of fearing them. Morning came and the alien fleet entered the sector. Massive ships blocked the horizon, their weapons glowing ominously. Colonists and human fighters looked to Ethan for guidance. "Stay calm," he called. "Follow instructions. Help each other and we will survive. Trust me." Lyra stood beside him, her shields ready, her eyes scanning for the first strike. The enemy did not expect humans to fight like this, and even less, an alien standing with them. The first attack came swiftly. Small raider ships descended, targeting the outer defenses. Ethan led a team to intercept, while Lyra activated energy barriers and deflected plasma fire aimed at the colonists. Blend. She moved fluidly, precise and deadly, protecting humans without hesitation. Every move was instinctive, yet she felt a thrill she had never known. "But we always try to protect each other." She raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Ethan did not push. He had learned early that pushing a member of her order could cause more problems than it solved. Suddenly the radar blinked red. Ethan's fingers tightened on the controls. "We have company," he said. Lyra leaned forward, her posture rigid, her eyes scanning the readout. "Hostile ships," she said, confirming his thoughts. The raiders were small, fast ships, armed with plasma weapons. They outnumbered the human convoy. Ethan's mind raced. He could try to flee, but that would leave the colonists exposed. He could fight, but the human ships were slower. There was no easy choice. Ethan turned to Lyra. "I need you to stay calm," he said. "We can make it through this, but we have to work together." Lyra's hand hovered over her console. She did not speak, but Ethan could see her eyes flick between him and the attacking ships. In that moment she realized something unexpected. Ethan was not panicking. His calmness was not weakness. It was determination. He believed in what he was doing, even when the odds were against him. She had never met a human like this. The battle began suddenly. Bright streaks of plasma lit the dark space as raider ships fired on the convoy. Ethan shouted orders to his crew, directing them to defensive positions. Human ships moved in tight formations, weaving between blasts. Lyra watched, noting every decision, every maneuver. Humans were messy, chaotic, but somehow they adapted faster than expected. She had never seen such instinctive teamwork in her order. Here, humans were unpredictable and yet effective. A raider ship broke through the line and aimed directly at the transport carrying the colonists. Ethan acted immediately. He steered his fighter in front of the transport, taking the hit himself. The plasma struck his shield, and alarms blared throughout the ship. He gritted his teeth and adjusted the shields to protect the cargo. Lyra's eyes widened. She had not expected a human to put himself in such danger. Most of her order would have calculated the loss as inevitable and moved on. This human chose to stand in the way. After the first attack, Ethan noticed one of the raiders targeting Lyra's ship. He shouted, "Get down!" and maneuvered between her and the attack. The plasma cannon struck his hull, shaking the ship violently. Warning lights flashed. Ethan's fingers worked quickly, rerouting power to the shields, stabilizing the ship. Lyra gripped her console, unused to relying on anyone. She wanted to act, but Ethan's quick thinking had already blocked the attack. For the first time, she felt a strange mix of respect and unease. The raiders were relentless. They struck again and again, each attack more desperate. Ethan's crew followed his orders without hesitation. He was not a commander by rank. He was a leader by instinct. He moved through the ship helping crew members repair minor damage, giving calm instructions. Every human was focused on protecting the transports, the colonists, and each other. Lyra realized humans were not just strong individually. They were stronger because they cared about each other. She had never seen such a thing. Amid the chaos, Ethan noticed a fire breaking out in one of the cargo bays. Without thinking, he ran into the flames, lifting burning equipment away from the colonists' supplies. Smoke filled the air. Lyra followed instinctively, using her alien technology to help clear the smoke and debris. Together, they managed to save the supplies. For a brief moment, the chaos of battle faded, replaced by the silent understanding that they had saved lives. Lyra's mind struggled. She had been trained to see duty above all else, yet here was a human risking himself for something she would have considered insignificant. And he was not just fighting for duty, he was fighting for them, for everyone. The battle reached its peak when a large raider ship charged directly at the convoy's main transport. Ethan and Lyra's ship intercepted it. Plasma fire lit the cabin, shaking the controls. Ethan guided the ship in front of the transport while Lyra focused her energy on manipulating the alien shields. They worked without words, a silent partnership. The raider exploded against their combined defenses, sending shockwaves through space. The convoy was safe, but barely. Ethan's suit was damaged and he was bruised from the impact. Lyra's hands were shaking, her calm control faltering. She had survived, yes, but not without witnessing something that challenged every belief she had about humans. After the raiders fled, the convoy slowly reassembled. Alarms were quieting, smoke cleared from damaged sections, and colonists cautiously came out of hiding. Ethan collapsed into a chair, exhausted, but smiling faintly. Lyra stood nearby, studying him. She could not hide her amazement. He had saved lives when no one expected him to, when every decision could have meant death. He had done it without hesitation. She had come to this mission ready to judge humans, but now she felt something unfamiliar. Admiration. And perhaps something deeper, though she did not yet understand it. Ethan turned to Lyra, noticing her stare. "You okay?" he asked, his voice gentle, tired. Lyra shook her head slowly. "I do not understand," she admitted. "Your species, it is reckless, but somehow you are strong." Ethan chuckled lightly. "Strength isn't just muscles or weapons," he said. "It's also what you fight for. People matter. Life matters. That's what makes us strong." Lyra said nothing, but inside she felt a conflict growing. Her order valued rules and duty above all. Yet this human had shown her that caring for others, choosing to protect life, could be more powerful than obedience to law. The convoy continued its journey, slowly repairing damage, checking the wounded, and preparing for the next danger. Ethan and Lyra worked side by side, not as human and alien, not as commander and liaison, but as allies. For Lyra, every moment was a lesson. She had seen humans fight, sacrifice, and survive. She had seen a man risk everything for those weaker than him. We realized she was starting to feel something she had never felt before: trust, and perhaps the beginnings of friendship. As they approached the mining outpost, the stars stretched endlessly. Ethan looked out, thinking of the people who depended on them. Lyra stood silently beside him, still uncertain, still cautious, but beginning to question everything she had been taught. The galaxy was bigger and more complicated than she had known. Humans were messier than she expected, but in that messiness, they carried something extraordinary. And Ethan Cole, a simple human with a quiet determination, had shown her the first glimpse of it. They landed at the outpost without further incident. The colonists were safe, shaken but alive. Ethan helped them disembark, checking every person to make sure no one was left behind. Lyra observed, noting every small act of care, every reassuring word. For the first time, she felt that humans were not just creatures of impulse and chaos. They were capable of true courage and loyalty. She had come to judge them, but now she wondered if judgment was the wrong path. Perhaps there was something to learn here, something she had never expected. As the sun rose over the barren surface of the mining world, Ethan and Lyra stood at the edge of the landing pad. The sky was red and orange, alien, but beautiful. Ethan turned to her. "We did good today," he said softly. She was choosing this path, not because it was ordered, but because she wanted to protect the humans she had come to respect, and someone she cared for deeply. Amid the fighting, a group of raiders broke through the canyon approach. Ethan charged forward, leading a team of colonists and fighters. Lyra followed closely, her shields deflecting blasts. Together, they fought like one being. Humans improvised, moving unpredictably, dodging fire and setting traps. Lyra adapted, using her alien skills to anticipate enemy maneuvers. They covered each other perfectly. For the first time, she realized humans were not just strong, they were extraordinary because they chose to fight for each other, for life and for hope. The battle intensified as larger enemy ships moved closer. Ethan directed the colonists to strategic positions, using the terrain to their advantage. Lyra manipulated the shields, allowing humans to approach enemy vehicles safely and disable them with clever traps. The aliens had not expected such coordination. They were used to fear and obedience, but humans acted with intelligence, courage, and determination. Lyra felt pride she could not express fully. She had chosen to protect humans over duty, and now they were proving her choice was right. During the chaos, Ethan was separated briefly from Lyra. He was trapped behind a collapsing building, raider fire surrounding him. Lyra saw him and did not hesitate. She moved through the danger, deflecting fire, lifting debris with her strength, and reaching him just in time. Ethan's chest rose and fell with exertion, and he smiled faintly. "Didn't think you'd let me die," he joked, though the situation was deadly serious. Lyra shook her head. I would never," she said. She realized then that her feelings for him were not just admiration or respect. They were deeper, dangerous, and powerful. Lyra nodded, though her thoughts were elsewhere. She had seen humanity in action, not as a story or a warning, but in living form. She had seen courage, selflessness, and hope, and she knew, deep inside, that her mission was about to become much more complicated. Because now, she could not look at Ethan Cole the same way again. They walked toward the settlement together, humans bustling around with relief and exhaustion. Lyra felt something she could not name. It was strange, frightening, and yet compelling. She knew that her duty might one day force her to make impossible choices. But for now, she would walk beside this human, learning, observing, and perhaps understanding. She had survived the first test of humanity, and she had learned more than she had ever expected. Ethan Cole had survived too, but not just physically. He had shown her something greater, that humans were worth fighting for, even when the odds were against them. And for Lyra, that realization was only the beginning. Ethan and Lyra moved through the mining settlement, helping the colonists organize supplies and repair damaged structures. The human people were grateful, but they were tired and scared. Ethan noticed their fear and did his best to calm them. He spoke softly to children, carried heavy loads for the elderly, and gave words of reassurance to everyone he passed. Lyra followed silently, her alien form tall and slender, her eyes scanning for danger she did not fully understand. She had survived the attack, but the events had left a mark. The humans were strange, unpredictable, and yet brave. They survived not just because they were strong, but because they cared. She had never seen anything like it. The mining outpost was small, more like a cluster of shelters than a proper settlement. Most of the buildings were metal and glass, patched together after previous raids. Smoke rose from cooking fires, and the smell of burnt fuel lingered in the air. Ethan moved among the colonists, making sure the wounded received attention. Doctors and medics worked quickly, but there were too many people hurt, and the supplies were low. Ethan coordinated with calm precision, setting up schedules for food, medical care, and watch rotations. Lyra observed him, noting his quiet authority. Humans were not always orderly, but he somehow made them act as one. Later, Ethan approached Lyra while she examined a damaged comm relay. "You're quiet," he said. "Thinking about the battle?" She glanced at him, her expression unreadable. "I am thinking," she said simply. "Humans, your species fights without reason. Yet you survive. It is remarkable. Ethan smiled. We fight because we have to, and because we want to protect each other. It's not always logical, but it works. Lyra tilted her head. She had expected aliens to admire discipline and efficiency, not care. Yet here she was, questioning her own beliefs because of a human. The following day, Ethan and Lyra set out to scout the perimeter. They needed to know if more raiders were nearby and ensure the settlement would be safe. The terrain was rocky and uneven, filled with jagged cliffs and deep craters. Ethan moved confidently, his boots crunching on loose stones. Lyra glided beside him, her alien senses alert for any signs of danger. She had been trained for diplomacy, judgment, and combat, but none of her lessons had prepared her for humans in their element, resilient, daring, and always alert. They walked for hours without incident, but tension lingered. Ethan kept speaking to Lyra as they went. He told stories of his childhood on Earth, about his family, and how he had always dreamed of seeing the stars. Lyra listened silently, though she did not comment much. She had never had a friend like this. Most of her order saw humans as dangerous or amusing, but Ethan treated her as an equal. That small kindness puzzled her. It made her question everything she believed about her duty and her people. As they approached a canyon, Lyra paused. "We are not alone," she said, her voice low. Ethan crouched beside her, peering into the shadows. Small movements caught the corner of his eye. Raiders, hiding and waiting. Ethan's mind raced. There were too many to fight directly, and they could be trapped. He whispered to Lyra, "We can try to sneak past, but it will be risky." She nodded. Together they moved slowly, carefully avoiding rocks that would give away their position. The raiders were experienced, but humans had a way of noticing small details. Ethan spotted loose stones in a formation that could reveal them, and he carefully stepped around them. Lyra followed, impressed despite herself. Midway through the canyon, a raider spotted them. Plasma fire erupted from the shadows. Ethan reacted instantly, grabbing Lyra and diving behind a large boulder. The shot sizzled overhead, cutting sparks from the stone. Lyra froze for a second, then activated her alien shield, deflecting a blast aimed directly at them. Ethan's eyes widened. He had expected humans to survive in messy ways, but here Lyra was using her skills to keep them alive. He felt a strange trust in her, deeper than before. "We have to move," Ethan said, glancing around. He spotted a narrow ledge along the canyon wall. "This way," he said. Lyra followed. They climbed carefully, the ledge barely wide enough for two people. Below them, the raiders regrouped, firing sporadically. Ethan and Lyra moved as one, silent and precise. When they reached the top, they looked back. The raiders were still hunting, but they had lost sight of their targets. Ethan exhaled. "That was close," he said. Lyra nodded, though she did not relax. She had survived many battles, but humans had a strange unpredictability. Sometimes it made her uneasy, sometimes it made her admire them. They continued their patrol and found an abandoned alien outpost. Ethan suggested using it as a temporary safe point for the colonists if needed. Lyra scanned the systems. "The technology here is old but functional," she said. Ethan smiled. "Good enough," he said. Together they repaired the doors, cleared debris, and set up temporary defenses. Lyra worked alongside him, though she preferred to maintain order and precision. Ethan, however, was more improvisational, using what he had on hand to make the place secure. She began to see the value in that. Humans adapted, and in that adaptation, they found strength. That night, they set up a small camp near the canyon. Ethan built a fire while Lyra stood watch, her alien senses alert for any danger. The colonists slept, tired, but feeling safer with the humans, and Lyra nearby. Ethan handed her a small cup of warm drink. "You should rest," he said. She took it silently, studying the flames. She thought about her mission, about her order, and about the human beside her. He had risked his life for her once already, and she knew he would do it again if needed. She felt an unfamiliar weight on her chest. Emotions were supposed to be distractions, yet she could not ignore them. "Why do you fight for others?" Lyra asked suddenly. Ethan looked at her, considering. "Because it's right," he said simply. "Because people matter. Because even when it's dangerous, even when it's scary, helping someone else is worth it. We don't do it for glory or rules. We do it because it's human." Lyra was silent. She had never thought about duty this way. Her order taught that rules and obedience were everything. Yet this human, with no special powers, had faced death for strangers. She could not understand it completely, but she knew it was powerful. Yet in this moment she embraced them fully, letting courage and choice guide her. As the battle raged, the alien fleet underestimated human ingenuity. Colonists used improvised weapons, set traps, and worked together to defend their homes. Ethan led with calm authority, inspiring them to act decisively. Lyra provided tactical support, using her knowledge of alien strategies to anticipate enemy movements. Together, they were a force the aliens had not expected. Humans survived not because they were perfect, but because they believed in each other, because they fought with heart. After hours of fighting, the alien fleet attempted a massive strike against the settlement's central hub. Ethan and Lyra coordinated the defense. Humans moved quickly to block the enemy, using traps and improvised weapons. Lyra's shields absorbed much of the energy, protecting both colonists and fighters. Ethan led a small strike team to disable key enemy engines. The mission was dangerous, but he moved with precision, trusting his instincts and the humans with him. Lyra covered their retreat, intercepting fire and guiding them safely. The bond between them was evident. Trust, respect, and something deeper connected them in ways neither had expected. As the final enemy ship approached, Ethan and Lyra stood side by side, facing the largest threat. Ethan shouted instructions, the colonists responding instantly. Lyra activated a full energy shield, deflecting blasts and giving humans cover to move into advantageous positions. Together, they executed a coordinated attack. Human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability combined with Lyra's alien knowledge to disable the ship's engines. It crashed into the canyon below, its energy disrupting other ships. The alien fleet was stunned. They had not expected humans to fight like this, and they had not expected an alien to fight alongside them. When the dust settled, the settlement was damaged but intact. Colonists cheered, exhausted but alive. Ethan checked on everyone, giving reassuring smiles. Lyra moved among them, her heart full. She had made her choice, defying her order and risking everything. Yet she had no regrets. Humans were worth it, and so was Ethan. He approached her, smiling faintly despite scratches and bruises. "We did it," he said simply. Lyra nodded, her chest tight with emotion. "We survived," she replied. She realized that this moment, this choice, defined her more than any order ever could. That night, under alien stars and human fires, Lyra stood beside Ethan. She finally spoke the words she had held in her heart. "I chose you over my duty," she said softly. Ethan looked at her, eyes warm and steady. "And I choose you too," he said. "We fight together, we survive together, and we face whatever comes next together." She felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She had confessed her feelings, chosen humanity, and stood by a human she trusted completely. The future was uncertain, but in that moment, they were united. The settlement rested, but Lyra knew this was not the end. Her order would not forgive her choice easily, and the galaxy still held dangers they could not predict. Yet she also knew that humans had something worth protecting. Courage, hope, and heart could overcome even the greatest threats. And beside her, Ethan Cole, a simple human with quiet determination, had shown her that love, trust, and choice were as powerful as any weapon in the galaxy. And in that understanding, Lyra felt a strength she had never known, ready to face whatever the universe would throw at them next. Together, they had survived the impossible, and together they would continue to defy odds, inspire hope, and prove that humans were extraordinary. Not just in strength, but in heart. The alien fleet had regrouped and was preparing for a final strike.